It's finally here, opening day at Santa Anita Park, Sunday, December 26th. Later in the show, we're going to be talking all about the races that are going to be on this stakes-studded card. It's a doozy. You're going to want to pay attention to this. We've got the Run Happy Malibu, the Mathis Brothers Mile, Grade 1 action in the Oaks as well. All fans in attendance are going to take home a 2022 Santa Anita wall calendar featuring rarely seen photos through the decades of the Great Race Place. First post is 11 a.m. PT, early stuff. Choose your opening day experience if you're lucky enough to be able to attend. santaanita.com/events. And also, the Great Race Place is partnering with Mathis Brothers Furniture to raise money for Thoroughbred Aftercare. Donate $20 and you can choose your Mathis Brothers gift, a plush horse, a water bottle, or a Mathis Mile hat. The racing season continues with holiday racing on Monday, December 27th. We're going to be doing a special show for that as well. You can enjoy great concession deals with beers and sodas for only $1 and hot dogs just $2. I know one 9-year-old girl who'd be very excited about that. Plus, opening week features racing on Thursday, the 30th through Sunday, January 2nd. We'll see you at the races opening week at Santa Anita Park. Visit santaanita.com/events to explore your experience at Santa Anita. Hello and welcome to the third anniversary edition of the In the Money Players podcast. Can't believe I'm saying that. Can't believe it's been 3 years. But in fact, when we split out on our own, first show we ever did on our own media network was for Santa Anita opening day. Here we are again. Peter Thomas Fornatal, happy to be back with you in the Brooklyn Bunker once again, and happy to be joined by a man. Things are looking very different on the other side of the screen with this man. First of all, that does not look like our typical Planet Texas set. And second of all, Mr. Big Hair is looking surprisingly clean cut and fresh on this Christmas edition of the show. He's still the people's champion, though. He's still Jonathan Kinchin. JK, what is up?
Yeah, so you asked a lot of questions. Yes, we're in the Saratoga studio.
Love it.
In the basement, right around the corner from the racetrack. That's the first answer. Second answer is, yeah, I got a haircut today. Just a little off the sides, not so roundy. We're going to go a little bit more of the shorter side, still kind of long and high on the top vibe, just to try to keep it, in order a little bit here. But, Pete, an unbelievable barber shop that I found here in Saratoga.
Tell me. I know you're very particular about who cuts your hair.
The best ever, Boiler Room. My buddy Dakota sorts me out. So make sure we remind everyone, come next summer. Awesome place, really cool place, hidden right off of Phyla. It's like tucked in behind some things. You would never know it was there.
Awesome. Well, that's a good tip. We now we can go to I'm trying to remember the names of the guys who do the excellent like old school barber shave in Saratoga. We'll name check them as well. But we got a place to get our hair cut. We got a place to get the shave done. This is good stuff. Is this place Peter Rotundo approved? That's what I really want to know.
It's funny enough, Pete. I told Pete this morning I was going to get a haircut, and he was like, "Where?" And I told him, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, why have you been holding out? I'm going to check it out." So
I know he's very into the grooming, that one.
He is.
Now you're going to have to explain this comment to me, because I am used to having this problem. I'll cop to this. One of the things I do as my own assistant is book all the shows, and I have made the mistake before. And this, if this sounds sexist, I don't, please don't cancel me. I'm just telling the truth. This has happened to me before, where with a female guest, I neglect to mention if it's video or not. And I've been chewed out in both directions. I've been told I'm an idiot. I'm clearly going to have to wait 15 minutes to get started because I didn't mention it was video. I've also, and I'll admit, I think it was Michelle Yu on this one, once gave me an incredibly hard time because it was audio only and she had spent the time to get ready for video. But I have not before had a male guest complain that he was not TV ready. JK, we've seen you all on TV before. As far as I can tell, TV ready for you half the time means rolling out of bed and putting on a beanie. So what was the holdup here today?
Well, there's two things. The first one is, we've talked about it before. I podcast audio only in underwear. That's the thing.
I was hoping that was a gag.
No, so that's the first thing. The second thing is when I get my hair cut, in order to cut my hair, I have to like pick my hair out. So I had like a proper fro. I had to like, so when I found out we were doing video, I had to run home, shower, and like do my hair because I couldn't like, I don't have a hat. I guess I have a hat right here I could have used, but so that's the reason.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I hope I wasn't insensitive about it, and I hope I didn't offend anybody with those comments. My New Year's resolution for 2022 is to tell the guests, what it should be is to get an assistant to book the guests, but what it will end up being is I will try to do better about letting people know if we're going to be video or audio. We have to take a second here, JK, and this is going to be horrible podcasting for audio because I've got a visual aid that the YouTube viewers will be appreciating. Just arrived in the mail the other day. We got our second annual of the Fan Choice Awards for favorite radio show / podcast. And you did have a chance, I saw on the broadcast, to thank people for 10 seconds. I went on for a bit the other day, but I figured you might have something to say about that at a little more length than we were afforded in the broadcast.
Yeah, well, first of all, I have one too, but it broke.
Oh no, you broke it?
Yeah, I dropped it. So, but I got some super glue, so I'm gonna put it back together. But
Okay.
it works.
You weren't mad at me and like smashed it at something. Damn, this Fornatal, it wasn't like that, was it?
I mean, basically. Yeah, no, I mean, we were limited in how long the videos could be, and obviously wanted to thank everyone who contributes. It's more of to me, I really do feel like it's more of a, network-wide situation. Acacia, Maggie, the Exactabox guys, Billy, Michelle, Spencer, Matt Bernier, you, and then all the contributors as well. I'm sure I forgot someone. Who else did I forget? Nick Luck. Someone else? No,
I think that was pretty good. I think that was a pretty good roundup.
Yeah. No, but so it's cool though. It's cool to be recognized. We joked about it the other day. I think you and I that not too long ago we were at the DRF and we had kind of gone to management and said, hey, why don't we try to like build this a little bit? And they weren't crazy about it. And then we were off. We had the opportunity to kind of go do our own thing, and then back-to-back awards later. And the other thing that I wanted to say on the video that I didn't get a chance to say, I just wanted to make sure I said it, was, I wanted to tip the hat to Steve Bick and what he's meant to this space and the show that he produces every day. And so I wanted to make sure we recognized him as well.
If you remember the first year, we didn't even campaign, it was so obvious. And I think it was feeling very acute with, some of the overlooking that had gone on in some other award spaces with Steve Bick. The award was only going to ever mean anything if it started off with him winning it. And as far as the other network thank yous go, there are a few. We could, did you get Naomi in there? I think you did, but we'll thank her again.
No, I think I did. I don't think I did. I think I forgot about Naomi.
And then, that's just terrible. And then the Odds Honest Truth Gang, getting us into the sports betting space with great success so far. And then another guy who's hit the ground running and just done a tremendous job, Edison Hatter, with First Over, as we just continue to, to use a metaphor that sounds more sinister than I mean it to be, as the tentacles continue to get out there across the horse racing space. But yeah, I mean, just one more time to everybody out there, thank you so much for your support and making it happen. As we note at the end of every show, we're nothing without the support of the audience, and we've been fortunate enough to have that for 3 years running now. Can you believe? Can you believe it's been 3 years? Let's start there. It's been a really weird 3 years, which I think contributes to how long it feels.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember where I was when you called me and were like, hey, so let's do our own thing. And I was hanging out in the library, like the new shiny public library in Austin, where we would reserve these study rooms and basically like turn them into our office for the day. And I remember getting the news and thinking like, oh, dang, okay, well, let's do it.
Yeah, it started off very much like that. Just, hey, well, we don't have anything else to do, so let's do this. And because of the support of the listeners and then people in the industry, we've been able to grow and sustain, and that's the plan for the foreseeable future. So the first show we ever did, we went over. I don't know if we just did the late pick five, what we did, but I want to do more than that for this Santa Anita opening day card, JK, because we've got these two graded stakes that are outside the pick five. The pick five itself is pretty rockin'. I don't know about you, but I really wish if travel were easier at the moment. One of these years, I got to get out there for opening day Santa Anita. I know it's an experience that you've had many times and you really love. Does it pain you at all to not be making it out there this year?
No, it does. It does. For more reasons than you might even know. The last racetrack I went to with my father was opening day at Santa Anita, and Austin was with us, and that was the last racetrack that we were able to go to together. And so it's always got like a little bit of a special vibe. It was always fun for me to fly out Christmas Day, see my brother who lives in the LA area, and then head over to Santa Anita for opening day and hang out in the Eddie Logan and see all of our friends there. So yeah, it's definitely a special day for me. Not only for that reason, but I also love the Malibu and the La Brea. I think it's a really fun, those are fun races just because of the nature of what they are. They're these 3-year-old last really restricted. They are the last restricted 3-year-old race. They're grade ones, and you get to see some faces that you saw throughout the year in some of our favorite races. The Test, the Kentucky Oaks, the Derby, the Jerkins, the Haskell, the Travers, all these horses that ended up kind of deciding maybe this is what they want to be doing going one turn. So it's just always so much fun from a racing standpoint as well.
Yeah, it's great racing and an experience that I really want to have. And I look forward to a year, hopefully, JK, in the near future where we can get out there. Hopefully Perrin and Austin will be in the mix and we can toast Big Ralph and get the horse racing year kicked off proper with, it's opening day Santa Anita. But for a lot of people who take a little bit of a pause in their racing calendars, it's sort of the kickoff of the racing season in earnest as well. For those that don't go straight on from Breeders' Cup through the end of the year. That used to be me, but I got to tell you, man, I'm enjoying the whole 12 month a year racing calendar as well. And speaking of that, one more note before we get into the business of handicapping these races. I saw recently that America's Day at the Races is going to be continuing unabated, and you guys are going to be having shows in Aqueduct Winter for, I believe, the first time. Is that right? What's the schedule going to look like, and will you be a part of those shows?
I guess I missed the official release because I had known for like a month that we were going to keep going. Yeah, I mean, I have this trusty little kit I told you about that they've built for me. It is carry-on luggage size, and it has a camera. It has the live view pack that streams the video back. It's got mics and chargers and monitors and everything. And so whether I'm in Saratoga or I'm in Austin or I'm wherever, I'm going to be bringing my pack along with me and doing shows from wherever I can. So I would expect that a lot of Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I'll be in the mix as long as I'm not, I got the NHC break, but what the hell, I might do it from the NHC. Who knows?
That'd be hilarious, actually. With have Kit will travel. What about getting yourself out to Santa Anita? Do you have any plans at present?
It's tough. I used to be able to run around quite a bit with playing in so many contests, but now a lot of the contests you can play online, and then the nature of the Fox shows of, I hope to get out there at least at some point. I'll be going to, actually, I forgot, I'm going to LA in January for a couple of days for some business stuff. So maybe I will, but I don't, it depends on what days I get there.
I heard a rumor they miss you at Eddie Logan. So,
I don't even know if I can get in anymore. I don't even know the code anymore. I can't remember the code.
TQ might be able to help you with that. He was great, by the way. We had him on. It was funny. I had him on the show yesterday, and I was expecting just to really preview the meet generally, but he'd done all the work. So we ended up going over a bunch of the races too, and it was great to get his perspective with the knowledge. We're going to be doing a deeper dive here. As far as other weekend content, Double D and I will be doing a show. Obviously, no racing on Saturday at Gulfstream. We're going to be doing a special Christmas Eve show. We'll be back with a show for Sunday. And on the In the Money Plus side, looks like Eric Solomon is going to be doing some written content about the Fairgrounds Pick 5. That's going to be a big honking deal. You got something on that?
Production meeting in the middle of the show.
Let's do it.
I love do a video. Do I do a video this week?
We should ask Peter Rotundo that. I would assume we could maybe give you. Do you want to do one or you'll probably have to do another one later if you don't do this one. So would you rather knock out a Friday or a Sunday, or would you rather, come back later in the meet? That's the key question.
Yeah, I'll come back later. I'll take the weekend off.
Okay,
Merry Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas to JK. And I am going to also either post something written or audio. I did want to check in with Frank McGoey about those Sunday races, especially as he told us the last time he was on these airwaves, he's been doing some clocking up there. So as part of that carryover sequence, there's a couple of maiden special weight races. So I thought for the plus people would get Frank McGoey's intel.
Pete, forgive me. I've obviously been focused a lot on Oaklawn and Aqueduct. Is the Fairgrounds pick 5 a goofy one? Or is it like a normal one?
I thought it was a normal one. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been playing day in, day out, but I know there's a carryover, which suggests that there's a
normal one. I know they used to have the kind of goofy one, and I just wasn't sure.
Some sort of jackpot deal they had for a while. Yeah. I don't think that's it, unless this is a force out, not a mandatory. But anyway, I'm just revealing my ignorance as I continue to speak. This is what happens when a track isn't a partner track. I only pay attention to them when they have things we can do on plus.
Amen.
Let's move on to a very important partner track of ours, Santa Anita, and let's talk about these races, JK. We're going to kick off with race number 5. This is going to go at 4 o'clock Eastern. Remember, this card starts very early, 2 Eastern. So race 5 goes at 4. It is the grade 2 San Gabriel going 1 1/8 miles for 3-year-olds on the turf. Hit the Road makes his return to the races. This is a horse I've always kind of liked. And I think you're going to get used to me saying how live I think a bunch of favorites are in the sequence. I think this is a very live horse. I like the switch to Rispling, and I just thought the horse would get an absolutely great trip. The horse with the fastest numbers who projects a great trip. A lot of my play is going to be running through number 4, Hit the Road. If I had to mention an alternative for an exacta partner, or maybe a little bit of a horizontal backup type horse, I like the 2 Friars Road. I think this horse makes a whole lot of sense on the cutback. I thought that the trip last time was tricky, attacking maybe a little bit early, maybe wide, definitely wide into the fast part of the race. And I thought there was a chance Friars Road could be a sneaky best closer. So I was looking to kick things off in our show today with the 4 and the 2 in race number 5. How do you see it, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Friars Road does make some sense, but he feels like he wants to go a little bit longer. Hit the Road always seems to be overbet. He's kind of a little bit of a fan favorite. I think it's interesting, though, that Rispoli shows up there. Not completely interesting, but he rode Red Storm Risen so well last time by being aggressive and kind of putting him into the race. It's interesting that he picks Hit the Road. I thought Red Storm Risen was interesting because he's tactical. Doesn't seem to be a ton of speed in here. I also liked Majestic Eagle. I don't have numbers because past performances are too early, but Majestic Eagle. I'm really excited to see how Johnny is going to handle this move out to the West Coast. I've constantly and consistently kind of criticized the overall abilities of that riding colony. I have come around, if you didn't know this, Pete, to Flavian Pratt.
I was going to ask you if you had chosen Flavian Pratt as the hill to die on, in that you had questioned his abilities previously.
I have come around on Flavian Pratt. I think Umberto Rispoli is probably still a little bit turfy for me, but I still think he is a talented rider. And so I want to test my theory. I've always said that there's 12 jocks in New York that could go to California and be the leading rider. Well, let's see if Johnny can prove me right there. Now, I don't know if Johnny's going to do the volume that some of those other guys are going to do. I don't know if Johnny's going to be doing 16 claimers and things of that nature. But he's going to have lots of opportunities for some big outfits. And let's see if he's going to ride circles around them like I've so often predicted. So in this situation, you gotta give Majestic Eagle a little bit of love as well.
All right. So if I were to sort of grade you out here just on the runners you just mentioned, it sounds like Majestic Eagle would be your top pick. And then who else if you were
and then Red Storm Risen. I think Red Storm Risen has an opportunity from a pace standpoint. Flavian kind of got to see what Umberto did, riding him aggressively, going the 1 1/8 in a race that doesn't have a lot of speed. I think he'll be forward. He could find himself on the lead again. And so
you're going to try to beat Hit the Road and Friars Road?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the rest of the entire sequence, how it all unfolds with scratches and things of that nature, there's a possibility. Because this isn't, like you said, in the late pick 5. This would be in the early pick 5. So I haven't looked at those early races yet. Hit the Road might be something I would use as a saver if I loved something pricey elsewhere, but I'm not going to just throw him in to throw him in.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Let's move on to race number 6. We've got the grade 2 San Antonio going a mile and a 16th on the dirt. Return to the races of Hot Rod Charlie. I keep hearing conflicting things about what Hot Rod Charlie's next path is going to be in terms of his races, but a little bird told me it might be Saudi Arabia after here. We'll have to see how it actually plays out on the racetrack. I've wanted to pick against him with the idea that there are bigger goals down the line, but as I handicap this race, JK, I just think he's really supposed to win. Dynamics, I felt went against him in the Classic. He's going to be very forward here. I see him glued to, flopping outside of 8 rings and being glued to his flank, and I think he's just faster than these. The other one that I wanted to include as an exacta partner, and again, maybe a little bit of a backup in your horizontals, was the 2 Express Train. These are notably fast works for a sheriff runner. He was a vet scratch from the Breeders' Cup Classic, but I'm interested in this horse against what I sort of see as his own kind in this spot. I just really didn't like the ride last time, if I'm being perfectly frank, and I want to give him another try to get back to his good race. I don't think he'll be beating Hot Rod Charlie, but I like this one 4-2. Who do you like in the San Antonio?
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of timing, for the sake that I have, Rigatoni has a vet appointment in 55 minutes. Hot Rod Charlie is going to gallop, and he's just better than these horses. And there's not a scenario in which I can see him getting beat. He could miss the break rate and come from last and still win. He could pop, go to the front, go fast, go slow. There's not a situation in which I can design him getting beat.
I feel similarly. So if you are playing this race horizontally, it's 100% for you through Hot Rod.
Oh yeah, it's just ice cold single. I don't know if this is the pick six is a I don't know if this is in the pick six or not, but it is. Either way, ice cold.
Yeah, there you go. It is, but it is still not our kind of pick six. I'm going to be more focused, I think, in my wagering on the pick 5. But you are right. Having something you can go so stone cold in the first leg, if your opinions are stronger late enough. But then I'm going to look at the effective takeout, and I'm going to say, you know what, I'm probably not going to play the pick 6. You mentioned Rigatoni. For those that don't know, that's Rigatoni, the handicapping French Bulldog. He doesn't happen to be there like under your feet. He can make a cameo, does he?
No, he's upstairs. He's an Italian French Bulldog, and he is hilarious. The man is funny. He's about to beat my Salevo count, for the record. He's close. He's been there quite a bit.
Oh, that's too funny. All right.
We just sit at the bar, him and I. I bring his little stroller in, and we sit in the bar.
Saratoga's amazing like that. Very dog-friendly town, way more so than Brooklyn, something I've always appreciated about it.
I wish whoever luck that tries to convince someone that Rigatoni shouldn't be in Salevo, because there's a strong chance that they'll be removed.
Race number 7, the stakes action continues. We've got the grade 2, Santa Anita, Mathis Brothers Mile. We are obviously going 1 mile on the turf in this spot. Some familiar names in here. I really like the horse in here. I'm curious to get your take, but this horse I want to bet to win, and that's what number? I wrote down number 9, Law Professor. That's this angle I love, of the horses that get onto the turf and show big strides forward. And I loved, and I mean loved, that last race. Wide, closing without the benefit of the setup, and looking visually impressive. This is a horse that's supposed to go forward second time off layoff to me, and I'm just not overly impressed with a lot of the competition. You know, we don't have a lot of a terrifying turf horses shipping west to contend with. Give me Law Professor in the Mathis Brothers Mile. Who do you like?
Yeah, I like Law Professor a lot as well. I think people that listen to this show know how we feel about Michael McCarthy as a trainer, and I think when he gets a horse going in the right direction, they stay in that right direction. You think about City of Light, you think about CC. When he gets them right, they stay right, and I think Law Professor is right. I like the outside draw for him because he's shown to be able to do that before. With that said, I would mess around a little bit with Cane Creek Road, who I'm guessing is going to be the 5. Cane Creek Road, switching to Doug O'Neill. No offense, Bob Hess. I would just call that a little bit of a positive move for me, just in my opinion. I think Doug O'Neill does a good job. So switching to Doug O'Neill, getting, and having that tactical speed to potentially work out that inside trip. It's my new thing. and it took me a long time to realize it, but horses that can tuck in California and get pocket trips and save ground, especially at Del Mar, but even at Santa Anita, it really goes a long way. And so I think that horse is interesting, first off the claim for Doug O'Neill.
I'll throw in as a backup in here Beyond Brilliant off a similar angle of just a horse that's very, very tactical, who I could see either going to the lead or maybe sitting just off or just behind Cane Creek Road. I don't mind your idea at all as well of Cane Creek Road potentially being the best speed. I'm going to throw in on the backup line as well. But most of my play and a separate win bet from the picks are definitely going to be going through Law Professor in the Mathis Brothers Mile, and I hope folks are going to take advantage of that fun promotion. But I mean, no offense. I mean, the other things seem cool, but how can you not give your 20 and go for the plushie? I mean, I've got my JRA plushie here behind me. I'm surprised this isn't more of a thing, JK. The stuffed animals of the USA racehorses.
Yeah, you would think that they would make that happen, but. We'll see. Maybe we'll make
another side business. Another side business for us because we don't have enough to do. Let's move on and talk about race number 8. This is a race you specifically name checked before, and one of the reasons you love this day at Santa Anita. It's the Grade 1 La Brea for the 3-year-old fillies, going 7 furlongs on the dirt. And there were 2 runners I was going to try to get through with in here, pressing up the favorite, or who I'm guessing is going to be the favorite, number 4, Private Mission. This, to me, is a horse that just on the PPs, nothing about her physically, but just on the PPs, for me, absolutely seems to be crying out for this cutback. If you look at pace figures, I think she's just likely faster than this group going 7. And I don't think she's one-way speed either. She's shown the ability to stalk and pounce before. I think she's going to get an absolutely perfect trip. I really, really like her. But I am going to give one more try to number 5, Missy P. This one had shown so much talent on debut, and I just felt like there were obvious excuses for the last 2 runs in the race. 2 back, giving a good winner, too much rope, and then last out on turf, and obviously something went wrong for the fact that we haven't seen her since then. But if you look back to that debut race and you look at these works, how steady they are for the return, especially that blistering work 3 back. I mean, especially when you consider this is Mandela calling the shots. I'm not going to completely overlook Missy P. I'm going to try to get out 4-5 in the La Brea. What are your views?
Yeah, I'd like to try to beat Private Mission because she's going to be pretty heavily bet. But here's the thing. She's obviously can rate, like you mentioned. She's gone a mile. She's gone a mile, a 16th and 1. So you could rate going 7. You'll get the distance. I'm also this big believer in when it comes to 7 furlongs and the flat mile, 1-turn miles, you'll see at Belmont, Aqueduct, Churchill. I want horses that play more to added distance, who have stamina rather than speed horses stretching out. Because it's my belief now, after it's taken me a long time to get there, that straight run on the backside is more taxing than slowing down into the turn. And so Private Mission is a horse that I believe can get that added distance. Now, one more thing. Baffert obviously can train a horse up to a race. He trains horses hard, and he trains them together, and he has no problem with a horse running fresh. That's why he runs so well first out. It's why American Pharaoh and Arrogate won off of long breaks. He can get a horse ready off of a break. Conversely, when it comes to Missy P, this is a horse that won going 5.5. So that's the other way of the stamina thing for me. The fact that Richard Mandela worked her 7 furlongs last time and 6 furlongs the time before that, to me, that yells he's at least thinking about her stamina and her fitness. Baffert worked his 5.8 and 58 and change, right? So he's not worried about, is she going to be ready? And she's coming back off of preparation for the 1.8 mile Breeders' Cup, that. So although I see the case in a situation like this, I want to try to pick up that equity by just using Private Mission, not necessarily talking people off of Missy P, but convincing myself why I'm not going to use her.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. And we'll see also, I'm not too interested in her at like 5-2 into the teeth of Private Mission. And maybe that's
but
how
isn't
they're
that what's
going
to happen though? Because everyone's going to bet, Private Mission will be odds on. And then Missy P is going to be that alternative that everyone uses. That's going to be a little bit over bet too.
That would make me less sanguine about her chances. I will address the other case that you made, though, about the Mandela thing. I think this is the rare case. This is not a guy who we're used to seeing crank horses off layoffs, but this is such a rare opportunity for Missy P, because this is her chance to get a grade one, right? Like being restricted late in the year. Like, so I think he may be reaching for a club in his bag that he doesn't often reach for. And that intrigues me with a master like Mandela calling the shots. But don't get me wrong, Private Mission by far the most likely winner. At the end of the day, it's all going to come down to prices. But I've thought enough about and ideated enough about these scenarios with Missy P that I'm not going to be getting stuffed in a locker should she get the job done. But I absolutely, it's in terms of being able to bet against. Sometimes people will say to both of us, oh, you guys pick too many favorites, but it's all about how you bet them. And if you are going to use favorites, a lot of the time, a very good way to do it is when you can make a knock on the second choice or, a horse that's going to certainly take up a piece of the market. So, respect to you for yours. We'll just, we'll slightly disagree on that one. And we'll probably both make it through the sequence flying when Private Mission wins.
Amen.
Let's talk about our 9th race on the day. For this opening day, Santa Anita. We go to the allowance ranks. We go down the hill, 6.5 for this one. These fillies and mares. So excited to see this course back in action on a Santa Anita opening day. That's good vibes aplenty as far as I'm concerned. I was going to spread around a little bit in this spot. I made my top pick. What I'm hoping is going to be a little bit of a price based on how she's been bet in the last couple. Number 2, Super Game. I thought was pretty interesting. I like the fact that she ran her career best race on the downhill. I did not like the ride last time. She's got some finish. She's got some versatility in terms of running style. And again, I'm hoping she can be a solid price in this spot based on the fact that they didn't bet her at all in the last 2 runs. Number 1, Fantail. I thought I had to use. Don't love the rail in a big full field going down the hill. But the exception for me with that is when you've got a horse who you think can be the best speed. And I think Fantail can be that. Getting Pratt, I like the fact that the figure went up going from 5 to 6. That makes me think 6.5 might be okay. Somebody looking at the PPs might say, oh, but what about the failed 6.5 try back in April? I'm not worried about that. That was a horror trip. I'm throwing that race out completely. I think Fantail fits with these. And then the number 3, Ultimate High, I just thought was fairly obvious on figures and form. Another horse that has a strong late kick that I thought could be suited to downhill. 2-1-3 for me in this one, JK, just spreading it around a bit. How do you like it?
Yeah, it's been a while since we got to talk about this wonderful trip that we love, 6.5 down the hill. A couple of reminders if you're new to the game or if you're new to the downhill experience, if you've come to this game prior to it kind of coming back to it, it was gone for a while. Inside draws are not ideal. It's kind of opposite, being towards the outside because of the configuration. You kind of go right before you go left. Being inside can sometimes be tough. Horses win from there, but it's definitely not where you want to draw. The other thing is yes, it's a turf sprint, but you're better off using horses that are cutting back because of the nature of the 6.5. Chad Brown actually told me that Bobby Frankel had kind of told him that, which is something I hadn't thought about. I thought about it a little bit differently, but you're still go ahead and run downstairs as fast as you can. And it still takes a lot of energy out of you because you're you're catching yourself. So although, yes, you're able to go faster, it still takes a lot of energy. And that's why I feel like 5 furlong turf sprinters don't do as well down the hill. And then the horses that are cutting back do. With that said, I thought that Gliska Gal, who I'm assuming is the 5 horse, I think that horse makes a little bit of sense. Showed some speed going long. First time in the U.S., switches to Simon Callahan. It feels like this was kind of the spot he was pointing for. Maybe she doesn't want to go that far. Maybe she's going to appreciate that. So I think that that's an interesting one. And then Inner Beauty, another one cutting back for Jeff Mullins. And it feels like I've seen Jeff Mullins do this move a few times with horses cutting back down the hill. While the rest of them are stopping, they'll be finishing. And if I'm going to say that the East Coast riders are better than the West Coast riders, I have to give Jose a little bit of an edge here and possibly being able to work out a trip.
5 and 7 for JK down the hill. And I don't disagree with any of that. I don't love having the 1, 2, and 3 gates going down the hill. And I think I'm going to be spready enough in here that I'll find a way to work your 5 and your 7 onto your tickets. we move back to the grade 1 level with the 3-year-olds in the Malibu going 7 furlongs. Going to have a big favorite here, JK, in the form of number 5 Flightline. Are you with him or against him?
I mean, look, Flightline ran fast, and he ran fast twice, but it is a concern that he did not run in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. There's obviously a reason why. Can he be ready off of that? Absolutely. Can he run 10 buyer points slower than 2 of his performances and still win? Absolutely. I think he's the most likely winner. I think he probably will win. I do think that Triple Tap has an opportunity to continue to improve. That horse can continue to improve. And then a horse like Baby Yoda, who has completely let me down off of that unbelievably fast race that he ran at Saratoga. But I am a believer in science, which means I'm a believer in speed figures. And I'm hopeful that maybe there's some things that can be tweaked to help him find that again. I'm annoyed that some of the people that were like, oh, Flightline, because they ran on the same day and they ran that fast number last summer. I think Baby Yoda ran fast. I just think he's had some issues. So I think this is an opportunity that I will press through Flightline. But if Baby Yoda gallops and runs a 114 buyer again, I probably won't lose. And if Triple Tap takes another step forward with a beautiful outside draw, while Dr. Shivel, Baby Yoda, and Flightline ding dong on the front end, I'll have Triple Tap as well.
So sounds like you want Flightline, Baby Yoda, and also Triple Tap on your tickets. And it sounds like you're going to use them kind of equally.
I am. Yeah. And look, I don't want to ignore Dr. Shivel. Ran extremely well in the Breeders' Cup and I did not expect him to. And to be fair, I would have lost the Breeders' Cup betting challenge if he would have got his nose down. But I'm going to try to beat him again.
I'm a little different than you here. I mean, I'm with Flightline. I just think if he runs his A race, he's going to crush him. I need to have more than half my bankroll running through them. I would be much more worried about your point about the Breeders' Cup Sprint if they'd ever talked about running him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. But it seemed like from immediately after that race, they were talking about this race. So whatever physical issues or he had, I mean, I don't know if it's physical issues, whatever it is that keeps him from running more often, it feels like the course was plotted out to get him here on this day. In this race. So I'm pretty forgiving of that. The 4-horse, who I've been calling Dr. Shivel, I don't know which one is right. I've heard it both ways even from race callers. But Timeform US, this I thought was fascinating and a good insight into how they make their figures. Actually had him rated 4 points clear of the winner, Aloha West, in that race for all the dirty work he did on the front end. I think he'll be handled aggressively. And I think if Flightline backs up, he wins. My issue with Baby Yoda is it's one of these horses that just he seems to have lost his early speed. He hasn't been breaking. And I think sometimes when runners do that, they're sort of touting themselves as not being able to get back to their best. I take your point. If he breaks and the 3 of them go, I see your Triple Tap scenario. I'm just worried Triple Tap isn't fast enough that Baby Yoda doesn't break again. Shivel gets the dream run. Flightline still probably blows him away. So 5-4 from it. This is a very long way of saying something very disappointing, which is that I like the first choice over the second choice. So sue me. That's how I see the Malibu. Any thoughts on anything else I said there? Or should we pivot to the nightcap?
Onward and upward.
All right, let's do it. Grade 1 American Oaks for these 3-year-old fillies going 1.25 miles. And maybe that's the key word in one's analysis of this race. 1.25 miles on the turf. The conversation should start with Going Global, and Going Global is live, and Going Global will be an A. But I do not want to pick Going Global, despite the fact that we have a very rare situation here where we're getting a significant, in my view anyway, a significant class drop into a grade 1, just given how well Going Global ran against her elders last time. On form and figures, she's supposed to win. Incredibly strong. Should get a great trip, a likely winner, but 1.25 miles, farthest she's ever gone. The pedigree doesn't scream 1.25 miles to me. On the Equinedge genetic strength rating, she takes a significant drop off at that. I'm going to go with a runner I think is going to really like the 1.25 miles, and we can tap a little bit into the old standby turf form Shipping West. I like Nicest in this spot. I thought that was a strong race the last time, and I think she's going to be an all right price. And I'm going to use her nearly as, I might actually end up using a little more on Going Global just because of the relative prices they'll be, but I'll be in the best equity position if I bet it right, if number 4 Nicest wins. I also may throw in on a backup type line, the 11 Single Soul off the angle that she really was not far back at all from Nicest in the red carpet. And this is one of those situations where, yes, it's a dire post, but I also think that means she could just get completely ignored, and you could have a horse with some form claims at, I don't know, 15-1. If that scenario arises, I want to make sure I've got at least a little bit going there with her. So I'm calling it 4, 5, and 11. Hoping the 11 is going to be a big bomb of a price in the American Oaks. But JK, I ask you the key question: how are we going to get paid?
Yeah, I'm only using 2 horses here. I'm going to use Nicest for all the reasons you mentioned. You get Johnny V, you get an inside draw. I think Johnny will work out a nice trip. Michael McCarthy and Johnny have a great relationship from his time with Todd. And the fact that he has Johnny on this one, he's not going to put Johnny on a bad one. He's going to give Johnny, I think Johnny could potentially, and I don't know this from inside, I'm just saying my prediction, Johnny could potentially ride first call for all of McCarthy's good horses. That would be my prediction on how that unfolds. The good 3-year-olds that you're going to start seeing, the maidens, I think Johnny will be on a lot of those, if not all of them. If he's not riding, see what he does the Baffert situation.
That's what I was going to say. A lot is right, not all, because, especially with the 3-year-olds, he's going to end up, I think the reason he's more out there is, for the Baffert ones, right?
I would think so. When it comes to Going Global, when a horse tries 9 furlongs 3 times and gallops all 3 times, I'm going to use my energy elsewhere on wondering whether or not they'll get a mile and a quarter. Like, it's not like the horse has galloped 3 times going 9 furlongs. So it's like I have no problems. And I love the fact that Flavien sticks because, Flavien missed out on entire days of Del Mar to ride 1 horse for Chad. And I know their relationship is dynamic. They really like each other. I think Flavien really loves riding Chad's horses, and Chad loves having Flavien ride his. And the fact that Flavien did not take off of this horse to ride Fluffy Socks says a lot to me about how he feels about this animal. And I think Going Global is talented. He's one going short. He's one going long. I think he's going to be tough. I love the draw for him in here. I'm not worried about him going a mile and a quarter. And like I said, I'm just going to use those 2. Johnny with Nicest for McCarthy and Going Global with Flavien Prat.
Yeah, we're the same. My long shot idea is just like a little flyer. I definitely am with you with those 2. We'll see how it all plays out on Saturday. JK, I know you've got people to see, places to go, but great having you back on the airwaves for this 3rd anniversary show. And we'll do a production meeting outside the show and find out when we can get you back on to yap about a bunch more stuff.
Love you guys. See ya.
In the Money Media is so happy to be partnering with our friends over at Adelphi Racing Club. Adelphi, a racing club of like-minded people who enjoy racing and the camaraderie of being part of something bigger than themselves, a true racing community. It's also something more than that. It's an interactive ownership experience where the Adelphi team is going to give you access to other partners, trainers, bloodstock advisors, and members of the team. This is a way to learn a whole lot about horse racing. If you're a racing fan or a horse player, all the better. You're going to get frequent multimedia content on your horses, including videos, photos, even some podcast content that we're happy to be providing. It's a great looking class. We did a whole show about the 4 horses on offer so far from Adelphi at the beginning of 2022. More stuff is going to be coming, but you can check it all out. AdelphiRacing.com. That's the website. You can reach out to Matt at AdelphiRacing.com or follow on social media on Insta at Adelphi_racing and on Twitter at Adelphi Club. Next up in the show, we have a guest I'm eager to speak with about several things, not the least of which is the chance to have actual pari-mutuel horse race action on Christmas Day, something we don't really get in too many parts of the world. But I want to start off with the next guest, Klaus Ebner, who's familiar to the listeners by now, by asking, what are the odds we're going to see a white Christmas up at Woodbine?
We probably will, Pete, but my back and my legs and everything I have to do with shoveling are pleading for a green Christmas this year.
You were sounding very that is as close to the Grinch, I think, as we're going to get on these airwaves. You're not, no sentimentality about kitties playing in the snow does not fill your heart with joy on Christmas Day. You feel the pain in the back immediately. It sounds like.
That's right. Santa Claus is giving out coal this year, so yes.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, the good news is on Christmas Day, whether there's snow or there's not, we do have an opportunity for some parimutuel wagering action from our friends over in the JRA. Tell us what they've got. Tell us about this card. What's been cooking, and what time? How late do we have to stay up? Can we to enjoy it?
It's still unfortunately the wee hours of the morning, Pete. So it will be around 1:40 as the 1:40 p.m. Eastern time. So 11:40 Pacific for the big race, but still, it's it just gives you time to have your old turkey and a few pops, and then sort of sober up for a big night of racing for Japan.
I mean, I think it sounds pretty good, and it can segue pretty smoothly into an absolutely loaded Sunday. Of course, all the great Boxing Day action. Jump racing in the UK and Ireland, and then Gulfstream, and then of course we've got Santa Anita that we were talking about earlier in the card. So you might as well start it off right, and that's only 10:40 on the West Coast. So some of them might be even in better position. What are we looking at in terms of a card? What kind of action are we going to have?
So on the Saturday card, it really is sort of the year-end championship. So I know we spoke about it in our last podcast together, but really this is the event where the fans vote for the horses they want to see in the race. And I actually got some of the voting numbers, and it's pretty crazy. So Chronogenesis and Euphoria are kind of the two head of the market's horses, if you will. Well, the fans voted hands down for those two horses, and it's crazy. They actually had 240,000 votes for each horse to be in the race. So that shows between the two of them, close to 500,000 votes for two horses to be in this race. So that shows you how powerful horse racing is in Japan. But
that's a few more votes, Klaus. That's a few more votes than it took us to get our two America's Best Racing trophies. But we appreciate any opportunity to bring it up.
And congratulations for that, Pete. So there we go. Checks in the mail. So yeah, certainly, the fans, this is one of those unique, one of the two events in the year where Japanese fans do vote for their sort of, favorite horses to participate. And certainly it will be a pretty cracking renewal of the race this year. As I mentioned, we're going to see Chronogenesis off of her 7th place finish in the ARC. So she is returning. In my opinion, she's the number one middle distance horse in Japan right now. And then you kind of have the up and coming Euphoria, who put two really good horses to the sword last time out at the Tenno show with a 3-year-old beating older horses. So of course Euphoria beat Contrail in the Tenno show last time out, and then so again he comes into this race trying to defeat Elders yet again and trying to stamp his name as the 3-year-old of the year.
For the USA fans who are super familiar with the globetrotting exploits of Love's Only You, where would you rank her in that discussion of the top middle distance horses in Japan?
So Love's Only You is just right there. She's right there in terms of, if I were to put her on, a hierarchy in Japan, I'd probably say she's probably third, just behind Chronogenesis and Euphoria. Again, I think that there's some question marks there in terms of Euphoria. Chronogenesis is a defending champ in this race. I believe I have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure she's a defending champ in this race. So she won it last year. And Euphoria really has some question marks in regards to, whether he wants to go this far. So, he did lose the Derby. So that was at a mile and a half. This is a little bit longer at 2,500 meters. So, in my opinion, I talked to some of my other friends in Japan as well, is that, he could win this race handily. He also could, finish up the track. So it's just one of those things where you kind of have to approach it. And, they're both known commodities, but there are some question marks, both of them.
Any chance of somebody else getting involved? Do you have an idea this far out of a runner who might be of interest from a wagering point of view to oppose the big two?
Yeah, so for me, I think it really comes down to those two. There are a few in here that's also deserve a look. You have Title Holder. Title Holder was the winner of the last jewel of the Triple Crown, that being the Kukuk show. So he won that race pretty impressively in that last start. And one good stat for 3-year-olds is there have been numerous. So the last 10 runnings of this race, four of those horses that won came out of the last jewel of the Triple Crown. So again, things to like about him, he is a 3-year-old, so things that you can develop, you can improve. You also have some other 3-year-olds in here in the form of Stella Veloce, who he's been thereabouts in the classic races this year. And then you also have the shock, the horse I think was 70-1 in North America in the form of Akai Ito, 4-year-old filly by Kazuna, who had a shock win of the QE2 Cup at Hanshin a couple of weeks ago. So again, like I said, this field is stacked. I think the favorites obviously speak for themselves in terms of, in my opinion, Chronogenesis, Euphoria, and Title Holder. But there is certainly other horses to look at in this race that could pose the upset.
Any other specific thing you think might be a big number to throw into some exotics with those? Yeah,
so there is one horse that kind of really interests me in terms of just because of his running style, and that's a horse called Panthalassa. So Panthalassa has won back-to-back races so far. Last time out in the Grade 3 Fukushima Keenan. He actually he only knows one way to run, and that's just hell bent for leather on the lead. So again, they haven't caught him in the past 2 races, and yes, that was against Grade 3 company, but it should be interesting to see what happens, because Title Holder had a sort of similar game plan when he won the Kika Show in his victory last time out in the last jewel of the Triple Crown. I think he'll probably take back, because again, Panthalas is one of those types that just, as it seems right now, they kind of figured him out. Just, okay, send him to the lead. He may open up by 5 or 6 lengths, 10 lengths possibly, and they'll try to catch him. But you know what? Those 2 efforts were pretty impressive, and he may just keep going at a bit of a price.
Speed's a weapon. We see that in racing all around the world. What do we have in terms of the support card, and any notes on the wagering menu for folks who will be staying up late / getting up early?
Yeah, so pretty much just we have our standard menu that we have available to our customers, to the patrons looking to play Japan. Again, it would just be the standard 12 race card that we have. It's early pick 5, middle pick 5, and also the super high 5 as well. And again, it's just one of those days where there's not much else to do. So take a shot. I'm sure the pools themselves will be pretty hefty, if you will, just because of the fact that there's not much racing going on. And if you want some action, you have some options. Right now, in terms of the pick 5, there's a little over $7,000 in that pick 5 pool going into this week. So it's certainly with the added money, you're probably looking around 10 to 15,000 in that early pick 5. So nothing to sneeze at there. And then in the big race itself, the high 5 was hit last week for $4,000, almost $5,000, and again, it was pretty hittable with that sequence last week.
You said the key thing though, added money, right? So I mean, anytime you're getting that de facto takeout reduction, or even potentially creating a positive expectation, it's worth, you got to be careful. You're not going to want to take some huge swing and overbet the pot, but I think for the player who wants to get involved, it's a pretty good opportunity. And of course, they'll be able to be following as well selections and past performances that you'll post over at inthemoneypodcast.com. Obviously, a little bit of a different week with it being the Christmas holiday. What can folks expect to find up there?
Yeah, so for us, we'll have the selections, we'll have the free PPs, and again, we'll get those out to everyone as quickly as possible. That way, you can again detox from the turkey and all the consumption of adult pops, and hopefully have your mind straight by 1:40 in the morning.
I love it. Let's talk also. There's another night of racing before we're going to have a chance to be on air again, and that's Tuesday night. And hey, who knows, that week with a lot of people being off, that might be an even better one to stay up than the Christmas holiday. How are we going to ring out the year in style with these JRA races?
Certainly, yeah. So the last kick the can, if you will, for Japan racing before we call it a year, and then focus on racing in February again, will be the Hopeful Stakes on Tuesday night. So Hopeful Stakes is really the kind of like the last kick of the can in terms of grade 1s on the card, and it's also the last kick of the can for the 2-year-olds to kind of stamp their mark on the year. So the Hopeful Stakes, 1.25 miles from Nakayama. It's most of this field is pretty lightly raced, but it has been more of a stepping stone for challengers for the following year's classic races. So if you look at the sort of who's who have won this race in the past, you have Epiphanea, who is the sire now of Euphoria. He won this race back in 2013, I believe, or 2012. And then you also have horses that won it, such as Saturnalia, who came back to win the 2000 Guineas. Last year, Den on the Kid, and most importantly, 2 years ago, we had Contrail win this race. So again, this is usually a sort of litmus test to kind of see how good your 2-year-olds are, and it does sort of give us some of the contenders for the classics next year. In terms of the field, like I said, a lot of them are coming out of maidens, but there are a few in here I think that kind of do merit some second looks, if you will. We'll go over a few of them, Pete, if you have some time. But
for sure.
First off, look at Ask Wild Moore, second last time out against Geoglyph in the Grade 3 Nisai Stakes, and then Geoglyph had a bit of trouble trip last week in the Grade 1 That's High Futurity. Did come with a closing kick and finished fifth, respectable fifth that race. So again, some form lines there to look at. Another one who would probably be the favorite in here is Command Line. In this race here, Chalk has been, I think Chalk's won this race 4 years in a row. So if you're a chalk eating weasel like some people are, then this is your race, and this is probably your horse. So yes, he is 2 for 2. He's a son of Deep Impact out of Spinaway winner Condo Commando. So again, we talked about it a couple weeks in a row now about the North American breeding angles, and sure enough, here's another one by Condo Commando, and this one scored last time out in the Grade 3 Saudi Arabia Cup. So probably be the favorite in this race, 2 for 2. One who's my selection in this race is a horse called Killer Ability. This horse lost by a neck last time out to Down Scorpion in a listed race at 1.1 miles. Down Scorpion came back last week and ran a very respectable third in that Grade 1 race, only beaten by about a length or so. Does have a win at 1.25 miles as well. And speaking of the North American bloodlines, here we go again by Deep Impact out of Grade 1 Hollywood Starlet winner Killer Grace. So again, those are kind of the three of them that I'm sort of looking at. If you're looking at a horse for course, there's a horse called Born This Way for all those Lady Gaga fans out there.
We got a few of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this horse is 2 for 2 at Nakayama Racecourse, including a entry-level allowance win last time out. So I think this horse has a shot, but the problem with Born This Way is just the fact that it's coming in off 3 weeks rest. It's kind of tough for 2-year-olds, but again, not totally impossible. And then if you're looking for a super long shot in here, one who I'm looking at here is a horse called Satono Helios, another that has tried the 1.25 miles in a very quick time last time out, but is coming back in around 10 to 11 days. So not great in terms of the turnaround time, but hey, you know what? There have been longer prices in some of these races. So certainly
it can be done.
Yep.
Yeah, I think going longer and just the nature of the racing, as we talked about, is different enough that that's not the seemingly impossible task it would be here anyway, right? Yeah,
no, and again, like we mentioned before, these horses are racing 1.25 miles, so it's not like you're going from a blistering 6 furlong sprint and stretching out to a mile like we would here. This horse has already got 1.25 miles, so again, they're used to it there. It's much like Australia, where they're comfortable with horses in short turnaround times and having the horses ready to still be in their peak conditions.
One other topic, Klaus, I want to hit with you based on the other hat that you wear, with Mohawk having a giant force out opportunity. I sold the short. I said 350, but it's actually a bit more than that. What can you tell us about this? What the horse players need to know?
Yeah, so almost $500,000 in the mandatory high five payout for Thursday. So yeah, really excited about that. And those of you that haven't done any Christmas shopping and you want to take a stab at this one and add a few $100s to your bank account, or maybe a few $1,000s to your bank account with a win. I'm sure your the kids and the family will be happy. Nice little pre-Christmas win at Mohawk Park.
I know that Sean Borman, who a lot of people on here know from his time on these airwaves, big fan of these four sets, has had success with them before, and lots of tools to help you along. Edison has posted a whole giant segment on First Over about this, so you can listen there, try to get some strategies, try to get your piece of that pie. Surely a excellent wagering opportunity with all that money coming out of the pool Thursday night, and lots of other stuff to be paying attention to from our friends at Mohawk, and of course the JRA races both Saturday night and then again Tuesday night. Klaus, it's been a blast having you on these shows. We look forward to the opportunity to have you back in 2022. And Merry Christmas, my friend. Don't dial too deep into that those Grinchy vibes. You gotta let Santa Claus out there and let him have the great holiday you're meant to.
Yeah. Ho ho ho. And then I kick everyone down the slide. So there we go.
Great movie. Perrin hasn't seen it yet. That's going to be required viewing. A Christmas Story. Good stuff, my friend. We'll see you in 2022.
Thanks, Pete, and Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you.
Great stuff from Klaus. I almost forgot I was supposed to do the close, but we'll keep it in, AJ. Keep it in. We'll thank Klaus one more time. We'll thank JK. We'll thank all the listeners, especially those of you who got us these. I'll have to find a nice place on the bookshelf, on the record shelf behind me to display those more appropriately. Our founding partners, 10 Strike Racing. We love to root for the purple and black. Anita, I have my win photo, my 10 Strike win photo, but it's out of frame. I think I need to move that in frame for future. Maybe that'll be an improvement we make between 2021 and 2022 here in the bunker. We always like to look for little ways to redecorate and make things smooth. Gosh, I almost forgot our 3rd anniversary edition. This would be a good time to make a subtle change. I'm just liking the music we have now too much, but let us know what you think. Are you tired of the music? Should we change it up, or is it as good as I think it is? Hey, while we're talking about that, let's thank our musicians, which this is something I don't do enough. Willie Nile, Dear Lord, that's the opening song. That's on his classic first album. He has tons of great material from throughout his career. Great rock and roller. WillieNile.com for more of his music. And then we've got my man Nick County, who you can find on Spotify and Google him as well. He's got a lot of great music out there that's worth checking out. Got to do something else with him at some point soon. I'm not going to forget TRF while I'm doing my thank yous. The Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, the great work they do with humans and horses through their Second Chances program. Give to them. You won't get it this year, but you can still get some of our In the Money rye whiskey. I was sure we'd be sold out by now, but I think we got a case or two left. So you have a chance to get yours if you make the right donation. trfinc.org/players. If that's if you have that, you want something else, we've still got those signed Woodford Reserve bottles too by John Velasquez and Graham Motion as well, commemorating the Animal Kingdom Derby win. Check it out. That's going to do it. This show has been a production of In the Money Media. Our business manager is Drew Coatney. Our chief creative officer is Jonathan Kitchen. I almost forgot to name check and thank our producer for this show too. You don't want to do that. Producer AJ pushing all the right buttons as well. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. May you win all your photos.